Milo's Pro Rewards members. Go big during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Buy more and save more with up to 20% off job site essentials like primed finger joint boards when you spend $3,000 or more. Plus, get up to 25% off PVC DWV pipes when you spend $250 or more. Shop Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 123. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
Deciding where to grow or move your business can be full of unexpected delays. Or you could just go to Ohio. With billions invested in shovel-ready sites, a dedicated team whose only job is to tackle red tape, and 0% corporate income tax, Ohio makes it easy for your business to scale faster. In fact, Ohio ranked number 2 in the U.S. for lowest cost of doing business multiple years in a row. Your move. Learn more at jobsohio.com.
Hi.
What is up, Los Angeles? And welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. Joined today by Erin Coscarelli, the final practice report heading into the divisional round game against the Bears. Rams still favored. They're still playing at 3:30. And they're flying out tomorrow to get ready for Sunday's big game. Erin Coscarelli live from Rams HQ. What's going on over there? What's kind of the preparation? How's everything feeling? Is everybody in a good mood, bad mood, tense, loose? What's going on over there?
Ooh, you want the full report?
Yeah.
You want the full report. Okay. It's good here. It's again, it's been in the 80s all week. Yeah. Obviously, foremost on everyone's minds is the conversation about whether it did get brought up again today to Sean McVay. I'm wearing sleeve, I'm going preppy, casual, short sleeves. But I know, in fact, it was funny when I was in the cafeteria, I was talking to one of the coaches, and our passing remarks this week just have always been, You ready for the weather? Aubrey Pleasant yesterday said the same thing. Are you going to bring your layers? Everyone's just kind of making the most of what they can't do anything to change, that it is going to be in the teens around 5:30, which is 2 hours later than their normal kick, 5:30 Central Time, 3:30 Pacific Time on Sunday. And it's, I think the concern that they have more than the cold weather, which obviously, they haven't alluded to a concern, but the strategy around the wind. It is going to be between 15 to 18 miles per hour during some parts of Sunday. And how does that impact you as a receiver? How does that impact you as a kicker? And how does that impact you as a quarterback? They're not telling us anything other than the fact that it's like, hey, both teams have to play in it and trust you're going to get it done.
Yeah, you bring up special teams, which has been, let's call it a bugaboo. I don't like that word, but we'll go with that for this team. For me, it's been stuck in my craw. I like that a little bit better, stuck in my craw. Cairo Santos used to kicking outside, used to kicking in cold conditions for the Chicago Bears. Harrison Mevis, he's been pretty much nails all along. You brought up that he played in Missouri. Obviously there's some inclement weather there, but we're not even going to bring it up. I'm not jinxing anything like that.
Do this to us. You always do, but go ahead.
I'm not jinxing. I'm not even bringing it up. I'm not even going to say anything, but it has to be brought up that special teams will be a factor in this game. I imagine colder temperatures and some wind and those receivers being in there, there's going to be more running the ball, which just by inherently kind of how it operates. The running the ball means more kicking involved, more field goal tries, and different yardage and whatnot. So I say that all to say is it's on the radar. On the radar. But we get our final injury report also on the radar. Kevin Dotson, a full go, no designation whatsoever, not limited. He's not listed as questionable. And it's huge. So in terms of the passing game, we rattled off some stats, but really big influence on the running game as well. So, kind of coming out of that last game, we kind of pointed out it was a little bit rough, between Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. Only an 8-yard long gain. That was the most explosive running game for both of those guys last week. So let's hope that changes a bit, because I do think the running game is the backbone of this offense when everything else isn't quite clicking or working. Go ahead. Yeah.
It would be interesting to do some stuff. We're doing this live, and, our conversation flows as it always does when we're doing these types of shows. But it would be very interesting to see when the Rams had larger rushing attack, who it was against, who was available, and what were the conditions, right? Because, I think when we talk about Kevin Dotson coming back, I mean, obviously at this stage of the game, there's somebody on a team that matters that's going to be injured, right? You're taking a look at the Niners. Even Darnold popped up on the injury report for the Seahawks. I mean, it's playoff football. You're playing banged up, but this is a team right now that largely is pretty healthy. It's good to get Kevin Dotson back. It's good to get Terrence Ferguson back. But the other thing that's interesting is to me, how we saw Q Lake and Devontae Adams maybe not necessarily at full speed. And with those guys now getting another kind of chance at the apple, and a little bit more feeling better, I think all those dynamics will be at play when it comes to what we'll see on Sunday with our run game. Because one of the things I was expecting was that now Devontae being back last week against Carolina, that we would see a better run game performance. He'd open things up, and but now they get Terrence Ferguson back. They have a full host of their tight ends, so it'll be interesting to see what the run game is going to look like. Because I agree with you. It was not as effective against Carolina. And I think you're right. It matters to be able to, especially in this weather, they're going to want to run the ball. So will be interesting to see. I mean, didn't we see against Carolina like 3 back-to-back Corum runs that got pretty much denied?
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they did not have necessarily a super high flow of running success last week, but, now they're getting Dotson back, and we all know how important he is and has been to the run game. So,
yeah, I've been listening to all the previews across the spectrum out there in the media landscape, and it's been really interesting to hear, especially, Devontae and Quentin Lake. One, it sounds like Sean McVay came out and said directly, like, yeah, they were trying to pepper him a bit to kind of get him reintegrated and get him into his own rhythm, Devontae, that is. So I think that was pretty interesting, something that I heard. Quentin Lake also, are they going to go after him and see just how healthy that shoulder is? Are they going to continue to test him? And obviously with another week under his belt of recovery and, it's not going to hurt. That's for sure. Yeah. And then Havenstein also, I noticed some talk about him. Probably no chance of him coming back.
Yeah, unfortunately, Coach, when he did his injury, he does his injury update at the very beginning of any press conference he does. He was asked about him. And that he has appreciated what he can do in terms of the adversity the guy has gone through this season. He actually attributed, he's like, I hope my kids handle adversity the way Havenstein has been. And I think that's one of the things that is McVay's way of saying it's been unfortunate to not have that guy out there. He means so much to the team in the way of leadership, in the way of how he contributes, not just on the field, but they haven't been able to have him. And that is the game of life. It's the game of football, just next man up mentality. No, there's no expectation that we're he said when asked, I wouldn't rule it out. We've taken it a little bit at a time. But he said he's just taking it at a day at a time. And then he goes into the fact that he's had to kind of endure adversity. And to me, how I process that is he's frustrated. He's not out there. And the Rams are not going to put him out and risk him in any way. They'd love to have him, but it doesn't seem like there's a clear indication. But he said he would not rule him out if, in fact, they do advance to the championship round.
Yeah, Warren McClendon's done a really good job of filling in for that. Now, I always like to shout out Ryan Wendell, offensive line coach there, for doing a great job getting guys prepared, like Justin Dedich, having him coming in as a UDFA. Warren McClendon, day 3 pick, I think sixth or 7th rounder in there starting, doing a really good job. When Dotson is next to him. So I can't overemphasize how important Dotson has been. Havenstein in a contract year, though. So interesting. I wonder if it's McClendon's time to move into that position. Question for another day, but another big contract that could come off the books if they decide not to re-sign him there. On the other side of things, from the Bears' perspective, Rome Odunze, he is listed as questionable. Also, DJ Moore, another one of their wide receivers, was on the injury report. So just an interesting kind of thing to keep an eye on. Another thing I heard out there in the previews was, what a great job the Panthers did with their really big receivers, Jalen Coker and Teteroa McMillan, really attacking the cornerbacks. Those smaller quarterbacks, your Darius Williams, Emmanuel Forbes is nice and tall, but a little slight. And then Kobe Durant also there, sitting around 5'9", 5'10", somewhere around there. So not the biggest guys. So interesting thing to watch out there. I mean, about the weather, keep getting these questions. McVay was asked if his movement was going to be, affected at all in the game. He doesn't even like to wear hats, it doesn't seem like. Last year we saw him in a little beanie, but I think that's the first time I've seen McVay in a hat. So it
was so funny too, because Gary Klein and him have such a funny relationship. Gary is so good at what he does. Gary is our LA Times beat writer, covers the Rams, and Gary he'll ask a follow-up or two just to sort of get a sense of how McVay is feeling. And he asked McVay, hey, what are you going to wear? You're going to plan to wear layers? I mean, it's like, and I love it because, the conversation around weather has been brought up so much this week. And I think the Rams are like, hey, look, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can control. It's going to be cold. We're just going to both teams have to play in it. And, that's kind of been the sentiment. And if you think about it, Caleb Williams came from USC. So it's not like he's super experienced. I mean, Stafford has more experience playing at Soldier Field in high pressure, high inclement dynamics, obviously, than Caleb Williams. But what McVay responded with was, I'm going to go shirtless. Obviously, and that Stafford introduced him the wetsuit concept from when he was in Detroit. So he said maybe he'll have a heated vest, which, they're doing these heated things like a heated blanket, but like heated stuff. So I'm sure he's going to be, and then it was really funny. He said, is he going to impact his ability to move around, run down the sidelines? He's like, I'm not going to be dressed like the Michelin Man. So, there was some good back and forth humor. Like I kind of said, McVay's just been trying to roll with the punches and, just have a sense of like reality when it comes to this. There's just nothing that the Rams can do. It's warm here in Woodland Hills and it's not so warm in Chicago.
I'm from Minnesota, northern Minnesota, northwest northwest of Duluth, if anybody can imagine how north that is. Walking to my bus stop in the morning as a small child, the mucus in my nose freezing as I as I inhaled. Fond memories of that. LA makes you soft.
Well, I was going to say that. So that's actually, I was going to ask you this. Okay. When you are a child raised in the northern elements of Minnesota, do you even know it's cold? Because it's like growing up at the beach, you don't know that the beach is the beach, right? Like when you're a child and you're raised in that environment, do you guys realize it's cold, or is it just like it's just another day in paradise?
I mean, there are days that are sub-zero, like dangerously cold out there, and it's like the Christmas Story when she's wrapping up the kid and he can't move it. I can't move my arms, and he falls, he can't get up. Yeah, that with the scarf wrapped around all the way up the head, like to get to the bus stop, that is a reality. And being snowed in because the snow has blown your entire door with snow, and you can't get out. So
most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/secure. Protect yourself now at aura.com/secure.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Like I had to crawl out the window to remedy that situation. Anyway.
Wow. And that's why you go snowshoeing for fun, because it's just, it's like,
that's why cross-country skiing is a thing. So yeah, no, there are days, but then it hits like 40 and you're like, oh, I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you're saying now in LA,
I'm so soft here. I'm in a hoodie. It's 80 degrees outside and I'm like, fine. But when it gets below like 60 degrees, I am like in a beanie. Yeah. I've got an electric blanket on my bed. The weakness is real for sure. But getting back to the topic at hand, the health of the tight end room is back. Terrence Ferguson's back. Tyler Higbee is back, and Sean McVay, I believe, was asked about that.
Yeah. Just the fact that he's got a nice arsenal of guys in that room again. And we all saw how they diversified when Puka wasn't available. 13 personnel became the talk of the town here in LA with Sean McVay. And, we had Terrence Ferguson out for 2 games, I want to say, right? He was dealing with a hamstring situation. And, I would say the back end of Terrence Ferguson's development, we've talked about it, he has made big moves, big plays when it's mattered. Certainly, has had some moments of being a rookie drop passes that were important. But I think the fact that, he's going to have a full weapon of tight ends with Tyler Higbee. And you saw Colby Parkinson's walk-off touchdown last week.
Yeah.
I think this is a unique situation where in January, in postseason football, almost right there, close enough to the big game, the Rams are very, very happy that they have mostly a healthy roster at this point.
Yeah, you got to be. And, I keep thinking about it, and you said it perfectly. The unique situation that the Rams are in, going all the way back to training camp, even before then, the talk about 12 personnel. They were going to layer in more 12 personnel, and they had Higbee and Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen, and then they drafted Terrence Ferguson, and it's like, well, that's a full room, and they kept all 4 of them on the roster. Going against, I think they kept 1 fewer wide receivers to make room for that. Anyway, there was a little bit of roster kind of tweaking that, they were like, we got 4 guys. And then when 13 personnel came out, it's like, there you go. Like they have they're all being worked in there. And so it makes a ton of sense. And a lot of the league is trying to get bigger and more physical up front. Some teams bringing in a 6 offensive lineman in some cases. So this is kind of their answer to this kind of bigger personnel trend that's going on. And, it was gangbusters for a long time, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting? Because you kind of touched on it a little bit too. You said, look at where the Rams started and now where they finished. Think about it. Like the Rams at the very early part of the season didn't even think they may have had a healthy quarterback. And now for the large part, they have a healthy roster, and a big testament to Reggie Scott, who runs their, sports medical team, and the rest of the staff, which of course McVay is always the first to give credit to. So it's not lost on me, if you just take a full pulse of the season, how fortunate and lucky and also well-deserved keeping these guys for the most part pretty healthy throughout the season. Touch and go at some points. They had Puka out a game, Devontae out a couple of games, Q Lake, and now the big thing is they're getting healthy at the right time. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And that's such a hallmark of their franchise, is keeping guys on the field. The best ability, as they say, is availability, and that is 100% true. And that was true in 2021. I don't want to make too many leaps before the game, but they were a very healthy team that year as well. Jimmy Garoppolo's back. Can we get him in the chamber? And that magic kind of gets him going? The real question I want to ask, and I've seen him in person, and he's a handsome fellow, but like, women are obsessed with this guy.
It's hysterical.
And it's like,
I just walked past him in the parking lot. He is so nice. It's remarkable. Like, you can't be athletic, handsome, nice. Like, he is a true kind person. I was like, oh, what do I say? You ready for the cold? I'm ready. I'm like, but wait, you're like Chicago. That's because he went to Eastern Illinois. And then he said something. I couldn't hear him. I'm like, oh, good luck. Good luck this weekend, But sorry, carry on. Yes, women are crazy about him. I mean, he is a handsome fella. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I guess we can leave that at that. I don't know what the real question there is.
Well, he popped up on the injury report, and I think it did get brought up today. Coach was immediate to just say, hey, it's he's fine. He had a sore back. He didn't expand on it, and I don't think it's an issue. I think one of the questions could be, because he was listed as questionable, I think, would he be the backup in Chicago if he's, got some kind of, in the event anything ends up happening with Stafford, knock on wood, who does Stetson Bennett? But he didn't allude to anything, so I think Jimmy is fine. He was walking fine in the parking lot 5 minutes ago.
Well, these Rams quarterbacks with bad backs seem to recover just fine. Again, Reggie Scott, the man there. I think it was before the season. Yeah, it was before the season. After Stetson Bennett had a pretty good preseason, I had the Stetson Bennett hive coming at me. It might have been a Stetson Bennett burner account. Like it might have been Stetson himself making the case for himself.
What happened?
I had a few people just come at me like hard saying like Stetson Bennett is the future quarterback of this team. Don't question it. And I think he's improved, but anyway, not important.
He was in the cafeteria rocking out to some good music. There was something being played. I can't they but I think the cool thing about this Rams team, I will say this, they are prepared. They are so dialed in, so focused, so prepared. And the word you use to describe covering the team this season, even if they're having tough moments, this team feels like they're having fun. I walked through the upright, not the gate, the security gate, and I was like, this could be the last. And I said it to Brock of Sports Illustrated. I said, this could be our last time coming here. It's really been a special season to be a part of how this coach talks about his players, all the ups and downs, right? The emotional ups and downs, the physical ups and downs that the team has. They've lost to 5 different teams this season, and all 5 have been very closely scored games. And the storylines here in LA, it's been absolutely so dynamic. And I hope the Rams, just for the sake of being able to tell more good stories this season, I do hope they pull things off. But we'll see.
Yep. Caleb Williams is not going to back down. He's going to keep playing all 4 quarters. You can't let that momentum get out of hand. You cannot take your foot off the gas with this guy and this offense, and Ben Johnson included 100%. I am with you there. I hope it's not the last time we're able to do this. But I'll finish with this. Davante Adams said to the younger players, I don't remember who was the reporter that put this out on Twitter, but basically stick in LA as long as they want you to stick around, because he's having such a good time here. And those black clouds and those dark clouds, New York, Vegas, whatnot, they're not here. It's blue skies in LA. The Dodgers just picked up Kyle Tucker. I don't care if you think they're ruining baseball. What a pickup there, 4-year contract for Kyle Tucker to play outfield for the Dodgers. 3-peaters. I think it's going to be the 3-peat here. Anyway, getting off topic. I gotta do a radio spot with somebody in Green Bay here in just about 5 minutes. So we got to get out of here. So we'll be back Sunday night. To recap this game, live reaction. So come back and check us out. Until then, folks.
Hey, Ramley, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the Rams LAFB show. Quickly before you go, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. It's the #1 sports app right now, and you've got to download it because it's got so many great features that I want to tell you about. Aside from season-long fantasy, which is the best in the business, they've also got live score trackers, in-game updates, plus the live chat where you can actually communicate with other users right on the app. But perhaps the best feature, at least that I like, is the daily fantasy feature or the live pick'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any sport, baseball, basketball, hockey, obviously football and our Rams. You're going to choose a player, just choose more or less. Matthew Stafford, more or less passing yards. Kyron Williams, more or less rushing yards, more or less touchdowns. 2 to 8, you can win real money. So when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMSLAFB, and Sleeper's going to give you a match bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 free. You're now sitting at $200. You put in $10, they're going to match you $10. You're now sitting at $20. But on top of that, right now, Sleeper is offering all new user signups a $20 free entry, no deposit required. Go sign up. You're automatically invested $20 straight from Sleeper. But you can stack that offer with that match bonus offer to add more money. Just make sure to use that promo code RAMSLAFB. Go check out Sleeper. Download it today. Tell them the guys at the Rams LAFB sent you. And as always, Ramley, thank you so much for making us a part of your day.
Deciding where to grow or move your business can be full of unexpected delays. Or you could just go to Ohio. With billions invested in shovel-ready sites, a dedicated team whose only job is to tackle red tape, and 0% corporate income tax, Ohio makes it easy for your business to scale faster. In fact, Ohio ranked number 2 in the U.S. for lowest cost of doing business multiple years in a row. Your move. Learn more at jobsohio.com.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.